Hi, folks. Since early January, China's been hitting it rough on the Chinese stock exchange, and that's causing ripples in the New York Stock Exchange, London Stock Exchange, and throughout the world. And everybody's starting to think that that bubble everybody predicted in 2008 that said in like a 4-year span was going to basically come and have a worse recession than then is, at least for the most part, starting to show its head, and everybody believes that China's economic collapse is starting to show its face value. And basically, this is what everybody believes. Their markets have been tipping. It went down like 18 points, came up 8.5, went down another 6. They've recovered. And basically, the ripples are starting to show in the U.S. Stock Exchange, the Dow Jones, the NICE, London, I think. I mean, basically, when one system's affected, folks, it affects everybody else. So if your country is even like Guam or anyone else, and you go down and you dip 6 points, yeah, you're going to cause everybody else to dip 1 or 2. So when a large country like China dips, say, 10 points, 20 points, that's what's going to happen, and that's the ripple effect, and that's the half value point that everybody else is going to go. So, I mean, I've just been following this all week, and what I'm finding coming out of Reuters, it says Dow and S&P off to worst 4-day Jan start ever as China fears grow. Hang on. I'm scrolling up. Dow is plunging. Here's 5 other reasons we're teetering on another 2008, and it lists China, or China's near financial collapse. Its number one reason is the Chinese stock market is collapsing, and it could bring down our stock market with it. I mean, this is happening all over the world, folks. I mean, you could find this about London. You can find this about France. You can find this about your underpants. I don't care. I mean, any number of countries, folks, that aren't already in the collapsing category like Greece, you could probably find that China is affecting their status as well. And I don't like to get into the numbers much because, quite frankly, I don't trust when these guys put these numbers out there. But when I say China's stock market, folks, what I'm talking about is the Shanghai Composite Index. That is China's main stock exchange, and that is what I'm talking about when I say the Chinese stock market is collapsing, and it could bring down our stock market with it, ours being the Dow Jones, the NICE, the New York Stock Exchange, basically what it is. So this is not just something that everybody's going, oh, well, this is another conspiracy theory. No, ladies and gentlemen, this is happening. This is happening. They predicted it in 2008 that what they were doing would raise it up, and it would eventually have to be fixed. You want to know what's causing this? I will tell you exactly what's causing this. But are you ready to listen? Because what's causing this, folks, is the petrodollar. We have deflated the petrodollar to a point where it is so many dollars per barrel under its international number that basically now it's starting to affect all the international values as well, and that's causing the ripple effect in all the international economies. And we're seeing it first in the larger economies, being China, Russia, everywhere else. I'm sure you can find it in Australia. And that's what it is, folks. I mean, the petrodollar is holding the world economy together. It's what binds all the corporate enterprises to say, yes, we can float your loan. We can move your building codes up. We can do this with your money. We can allow you your $500 so your kid can go to college. It is what allows us. When it was at $180 a barrel, $288 a barrel, stuff was bad. But those billionaires making hundreds of millions of dollars an hour were making sure all the major companies were getting paid so that you could go to work tomorroro. Now that that's not happening, our markets are collapsing, folks. Oh, I'm sure that the petrodollar right now, if you look at the numbers and everything, are probably marginal right now. I'm sure they're about somewhere around $25 to $45 to $105 a barrel. But it was the ripple effect last week that probably caused this. Remember, it's going to take a while for it to do it, and then it's going to take a while for it to bring it back up. So this is not happening because of some judgment the IMF made yesterday, where they made a phone call and say, hey, drop it 20 points, do it now. Now, do they have that kind of authority? I have no idea. I would imagine at some point they do, but that's only to freeze it once it drops. And I don't know exactly what kind of authority we're really talking about in this world, folks. But I will gladly share my sources, and you can read through this, and you can go find yours from BBC and every other source you can. Worst 4-day in Jan. China fears grows. Chinese stock market collapsing, and it could bring down the stock market. Dow Jones is plunging, teetering on another 2008. This one coming out of test tube, which isn't the best, but will China's economic slump create a global recession? So, this is what's happening, folks. I mean, you can talk about it all you want, but this is basically it, folks. Doesn't matter if you get your sources from BBC. It doesn't matter if you get your sources from Al Jazeera. It doesn't matter if you get it from CNN, folks. It doesn't matter if you sit there and you stare at the charts from every trade on top of every trade between the Shanghai Composite and the New York Stock Exchange, and you go dollar per one, and you do all the math every minute of the day, and you find that 3.1% that it's going to fall within the next 72 hours, or the rise of 2.1, and you can do whatever you want, folks. But because the petrodollar is so low, because of all the fighting going on globally, folks, and everything that you can probably name in between, the markets are taking a hit, folks. I mean, you know, in 2008, when we had that recession, folks, it was bad. It was very bad. It was very, very, very bad. I mean, it was bad, 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 bad. All right? I didn't know a whole lot about economics at the time, but I think the U.S. put in like $152 billion in one day to try to bring the world out of it. I mean, it was bad, folks. And now we're about to go into another recession that they predicted 8 years ago. This one's supposed to be the one where they merge all the systems together, and they say this is your new currency worldwide. I don't know, folks. But the Chinese stock exchange via the Shanghai Composite is starting to show some wear and tear. It is affecting the New York. It is affecting the London. The Sydney, I believe. I don't know what province of Australia handles their stock exchange. I imagine it'd be Sydney. And whoever runs that, I've never done intimate analysis on the Australian stock exchange. If somebody wants to educate me, please do so. But I'm trying to name all the allied countries. You know, I don't know what the main stock exchange of Germany is. I don't know any of that other stuff, even in Russia. I've only heard this information once or twice in my life. So if you want to educate me, please do so. Thank you. But this is actually happening, folks. It may not be bringing it down tonight, but they're starting to see a flutter, and the flutter leads to a sinking, and the sinking leads to the ship going under. And this was predicted in 2008 by Bush and all his economic advisors and everybody else that was on the scene at the time. This was predicted by Obama and all his advisors. This was predicted by all the Federal Reserve advisors, all the IMF guys. You pick any country around the world, even their intelligence guys and the CIA and Mossad and the FSB. We're telling everybody this is not the end. This is only the beginning of this. Now we're going to postpone it as long as we can. Now, do I know that this next fall is going to be the last one? No. I imagine there to be a good 5 or 6 bubbles, 5 or 6 good great recessions before they say, screw this, we're done. And at that point, there is going to be shooting and looting on the streets, folks, everywhere. That's when the government comes and says, we can no longer pay our debts. We're sorry. And that's when you go, my God. And that's when you know it's time to get the family and get out and to know the warning signs before and to be able to find some high ground. So, this is it, folks. I mean, I doubt this is going to be anything more than a trickle, but you might want to start watching it just in case it is, and in case this is the moment of truth. Thanks.